The night was cold, with rain hammering the streets like tears from heaven itself. The small town of Willow Creek was quiet, except for the sound of thunder rolling across the dark sky. In the flickering light of a street lamp, a young woman stood trembling, clutching her bag to her chest. Her name was Emily, and she had nowhere left to go. Her hair clung to her soaked face, her eyes red from crying, her heart shattered by the betrayal that had driven her from the only home she had ever known. She had trusted someone, a man who promised her safety, love, and a future, but left her with nothing but fear and scars that wouldn't fade. She walked aimlessly, her shoes splashing through puddles, her stomach empty, her hope even emptier. Every door she had knocked on had been slammed shut. Every shelter was full, and so she wandered. At the same time, across town, Michael Carter, a single father in his mid-30s, was trying to put his little daughter Lily to bed. The sound of rain outside made the little girl cling to him tighter. "Daddy, will Mommy come back when the rain stops?" she whispered, her innocent eyes searching his face. Michael froze for a moment. It had been 3 years since Lily's mother left. Without explanation, without goodbye, he swallowed the ache in his throat and kissed her forehead gently. "No, sweetheart," he said softly, "but Daddy's here always." He tucked her in, turned off the light, and went to the living room to finish his late-night work. He ran a small mechanics shop, struggling to make ends meet while raising Lily alone. Life wasn't easy, but he managed, with patience, coffee, and a heart full of quiet determination. Hours passed, and just as Michael was about to lock up the house, he heard something faint beneath the roar of rain. A knock, soft, hesitant, then another. Frowning, he opened the door and froze. Standing on his porch was Emily, soaked from head to toe, shivering so hard that her teeth chattered. She looked fragile, her face pale and lips trembling. For a moment, neither spoke. Michael's instinct told him she wasn't dangerous, just desperate. "I'm sorry," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "I didn't know where else to go. I need somewhere dry to stay just for the night, please." Michael hesitated. The world wasn't kind to strangers, and he had a daughter sleeping inside. But something in Emily's eyes, a pain that mirrored his own, made him open the door wider. "Come in," he said quietly. "You look like you've been through a storm." She stepped in, dripping water onto the floor, hugging her bag tightly. The warmth of the house seemed to sting her as if she didn't deserve it. "Thank you," she whispered. He handed her a towel, then went to get one of Lily's extra blankets. "Sit by the fire," he said. She obeyed silently, her eyes darting around the small but cozy living room. There were pictures of Michael and Lily, smiling, laughing, playing in the park. It was the kind of happiness Emily hadn't seen in years. Michael watched her quietly, noticing the bruises faintly visible on her wrist. "You hungry?" he asked. She nodded weakly. He heated some soup and handed it to her. When she took the first sip, tears welled in her eyes. "I can't remember the last time someone was kind to me," she murmured. Michael said nothing, only nodded. "You can stay in the guest room tonight," he said finally. "We'll figure things out in the morning." Emily wanted to refuse, but her body was too tired to fight any more. She whispered a thank you and disappeared into the small room at the end of the hall. As Michael lay in bed, he couldn't sleep. Who was she? Why was she alone in the rain? What if letting her in was a mistake? But then he remembered the look in her eyes, fear mixed with hope, and he couldn't shake the feeling that fate had placed her on his doorstep for a reason. The next morning, Lily woke up first. She ran into the living room, rubbing her sleepy eyes, and froze when she saw Emily sitting at the table. "Who are you?" she asked innocently. Emily smiled weakly. "I'm Emily. Your dad helped me last night." Lily tilted her head, curious but not scared. "You look sad," she said softly. "Daddy says when you're sad, pancakes help." Emily laughed for the first time in weeks, and it felt strange, like remembering how to breathe. Michael came in just then, holding a cup of coffee. "Lily, go get dressed for school," he said gently. "We'll leave in 10. After she left, Michael turned to Emily. "I don't know what you've been through," he said, "but you don't have to tell me anything you're not ready to. You can stay here a few days until you figure out what to do next. Emily blinked rapidly, fighting tears. Why are you doing this for me? She whispered. Because once, he said quietly, someone helped me when I had nowhere to go. It's only right I do the same. Days turned into weeks. Emily started helping around the house, cleaning, cooking, even fixing things at Michael's shop. She laughed more and Lily adored her. Every evening they ate dinner together, sharing stories and laughter that filled the house with warmth. But not everyone in town was kind. Whispers started spreading, rumors about the strange woman, staying with the single father. Michael ignored them, but Emily could feel their judgment every time she went outside. Still, for the first time in her life, she felt safe. One night after tucking Lily in, Emily found Michael sitting on the porch staring at the stars. "You're quiet tonight," she said. He smiled faintly. "Just thinking. I used to believe life doesn't give second chances, but maybe it does." She sat beside him, pulling her blanket tighter. "I used to think kindness didn't exist," she whispered. "But you proved me wrong." Their eyes met, and for a brief moment, the world stopped. Yet, as peaceful as it seemed, both knew shadows from the past don't disappear easily. And when Emily's past finally came knocking again, it would test everything they had begun to build. It started one quiet afternoon. Michael was at the shop, working under the hood of a car, when he saw a man standing by the door, tall, sharp eyes, expensive suit, the kind of man who carried danger in his silence. "Can I help you?" Michael asked. The man's lips curved into a smirk. "I'm looking for a woman. Name's Emily Brooks. I was told she's been staying here." Michael froze. His instincts flared instantly. "Never heard of her," he said coldly. The man's eyes narrowed. "You're lying. Tell her Nathan's looking for her, and she knows what happens if she hides from me again." He turned and left, tires screeching on the gravel. Michael's blood boiled. He didn't know who Nathan was, but he knew fear when he saw it, and when he got home, Emily's trembling face confirmed everything. "He found me," she whispered. "I thought I was free." Then the truth spilled out like broken glass. Nathan was her ex, an abusive, controlling man who had kept her trapped for years. When she finally escaped, she left everything behind, including her identity. She had been living in fear ever since. "I didn't mean to bring danger here," she sobbed. "I should leave before he hurts you or Lily." But Michael grabbed her hands, his voice firm. "You're not going anywhere. No one hurts my family." The word family made her heart stop. No one had ever said that to her before. That night, Michael called the sheriff, explaining everything. He arranged for protection, and they set up cameras around the house. Still, fear hung heavy in the air. Emily barely slept, haunted by memories and the thought of losing the only home that had ever felt real. But what she didn't know was how deeply Michael cared, how much Lily already saw her as a mother figure, and how much she had changed all their lives. Days passed in tense silence until one evening Michael heard a noise outside. The motion light flickered on and his chest tightened. He rushed out, and there he was, Nathan, waiting. "You think you can hide her from me?" Nathan spat, his voice filled with venom. Michael stood firm. "She's not your property. You hurt her once, you won't again." Nathan laughed bitterly. "You, a mechanic playing hero, step aside." Michael clenched his fists. "You'll have to go through me." The confrontation turned violent. Fists flew. The sound of shattering glass echoed, and Emily's scream pierced the night. But Michael refused to back down. He fought not just for Emily, but for the peace he had found with her. By the time the sheriff arrived, Nathan was restrained, handcuffed, and finally facing justice for years of abuse. Emily collapsed to her knees, sobbing as Michael pulled her into his arms. "It's over," he whispered. "You're safe now." Weeks later, the house was quieter, brighter. Emily began rebuilding her life with the help of the community, who, seeing the truth, now admired her strength. She found work at Michael's shop, learning the ropes and helping him grow the business. Lily adored her more than ever, calling her Miss Emily. And one morning, she accidentally said, "Mom." Emily froze, tears welling in her eyes. "You don't mind, do you?" Lily asked shyly. Emily smiled through her tears. No, sweetheart, I don't mind at all. That night, Michael and Emily sat together under the same stars as before. You changed our lives, Emily, he said softly. She shook her head. No, Michael, you saved mine. He reached over, took her hand and whispered, maybe we both saved each other. Months later, the three of them stood outside a small new sign above the shop. Carter and Brooks Auto Service. Emily had finally found not just a home but a family. And in return, she gave Michael and Lily the warmth they had lost years ago. As the sun set behind them, Emily looked up, her heart finally light. She whispered to herself, sometimes the place you're meant to be is the one you never planned to find. The camera fades out slowly, with the family laughing together, their silhouettes glowing in the evening light.